This segment is brought to you by Buick. Exceptional by design. All right, we are here with some breaking news here at HTV. And of course, if you're just joining us, you know that in 2023, we had a new coroner that was elected here in Terrebonne Parish, Dr. Patrick Walker. Well, joining us now on the set is the City Marshal for the City of Houma, Herbert Fitch. And good to see you, Mr. City Marshal. How are you?
I'm fine, sir.
Good. Some breaking news. We'll roll in the footage, and then I'll show the audience what we have, and then I'll come to the City Marshal for an explanation. But let's roll in that footage of Dr. Patrick Walker today taken into custody here in Terrebonne Parish. And this was in the late afternoon here. And there you see Darren Martin, our photographer. And we'll explain the reasoning behind this. From what I understand, it's a civil matter, but it's still a matter that needed to be resolved, and we'll give you the reasons for this. So joining us now once again is Herbert Fitch, the City Marshal here in the city of Houma. And Herbert, can you explain what exactly took place today? This is a little unusual to see, so maybe you could bring us up to speed.
Well, this morning during court, my Chief Deputy Dale White handed me a note that the warrant was active for Dr. Walker on a civil matter for him not failing to show up in court. He said that the attorney wanted him picked up. So I went to my office in the back, had my secretary pull up the warrants, took a look at the warrants, what it said. It was a failure to appear for a civil matter. And my understanding is that they tried many times to get him to come to court, he just wouldn't come back. So then myself and one of my deputy marshals, Trey Oakland, we went out and began searching to see if we can find him. We went to the coroner's office first. He wasn't there. We went to his home, spoke to his wife. She was on the phone with him. He said he was at Terrebonne General. I contacted the chief of security at Terrebonne General to let them know we were coming to the hospital. And I was advised then that he was not at the hospital. So then we began searching for him. And about 2 hours into the search, he showed up at my office. So we went back into the office, spoke with him, advised him why we were looking for him, and that we had the warrant, and that the attorney wanted him arrested. Mm-hmm. And that's what we did.
So the attorney for, I guess this would be the attorney for contractors. It's a civil matter, you said?
Yes, sir.
And I take it from talking to some of the contractors. I did invite the contractors on and also made a call to the attorney, but it's late breaking, so I could not reach the attorney. My understanding is Evan Stark, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the contractors came forward, and this court case revolved around, they alleged that they were not being paid for services they rendered at Dr. Walker's. Was it his personal house?
I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I know there was money owed to a bunch of people, bunch of contractors. Mm-hmm. I knew that much because I was in the court during those proceedings, but I don't know exactly who it is and what it's for.
Yeah, and so normally when something like this takes place, in all fairness to everybody, normally if you miss one time, you probably get a good slap on the wrist from the judge and a little scolding. But when does it become problematic for a judge to make this kind of move?
Well, Judge Hagan is a pretty easy guy, mm-hmm. and he likes to work with people, you know. But then when the attorney gets enough and tells the judge, you know, I can't get him in here, judge, they won't show up, then the warrant is given to my office, and then we go out and find them.
You're right about Judge Hagan. He's very fair. He'll go out his way to make sure somebody
yes, he does.
Gets help. But this is a bit unusual, wouldn't you agree? I mean, you're not used to doing this kind of, especially with an elected official.
Right.
Yeah. So where does it go from here? What was Dr. Walker's demeanor when you were talking with him?
Well, I would say he understood, but he denied it. And we had paperwork, because it's one thing about the judge. He gets you to sign a promise to appear in court, so that way you can't come back and tell us, oh, you didn't know you had a court date. Mm-hmm. And we had paperwork with his signature on it and signature of his wife that they both promised to show up in the court on the date the judge gave him. Yeah. And then, he wasn't showing up, and Evan was being very kind, but, after a while, Martin, you got to do what you got to do. And it's not to be mean on anybody, but you got to handle your business.
From what I understand, there's several contractors that might have consolidated their efforts to collect their monies from working on his home, but they just could never get it resolved. And look, in fairness to Dr. Walker, we invite him to come on, or his attorney, and give his side of the story. We always like to get both sides of the story, but so it took a while for y'all to get it done. Where does it go from here?
If he bonds out, he's given another court date to show up back in city court in front of the judge. And if he doesn't, another warrant will be issued for him.
Okay. City Marshal, thank you for coming. We appreciate it.
You're welcome, sir.
All right, breaking news here on HTV. We appreciate you joining us. We'll have more in this story. We certainly invite the coroner to come on and state his side of the story. And welcome back. As you heard in that first segment, I offer every side to come on and tell their side. And joining us now is the coroner of Terrebonne Parish, Dr. Patrick Walker. Doc, good to see you, and thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Martin.
These are unusual stories in a small town.
That's correct.
And you were brought into custody today, and out of fairness to you, I want to give you an opportunity to state what's happening, because from what I understand, this was in city court.
That's correct.
And from what I understand from contractors, and we'll talk about that more in length after I give you a chance to speak, there were bills that weren't paid. It ended up in city court, and there was a circumstance where you didn't show up for court, and I think that's what led to today. But let me give you the floor and let you explain.
Yeah, that's correct. So, basically, a lot of this is my personal information, so I'm going to be pretty brief. But, we had a situation where, we had started the process of building a house, and we had some of the money from the bank, and the bank sort of stopped giving loans in the middle of the process. So I had to foot a lot of the expense. So there were some contractors that needed to be paid, and we had made an arrangement to pay these contractors. And there was a court date way back in February of this year that I apparently missed, because I think my wife had signed for the judgment, and I was not aware that it was that particular date, so I didn't turn it. And so we had about 7 months where this thing was out there, and no one reached out to me. We could have settled this in a more amicable fashion, but it seems though someone, I don't know who it is, but it seems as though forces out there wanted to sort of embarrass me by not just having a judge sign an order for my arrest, but carrying out the process. And I'm not ashamed of what happened. I was arrested, I went to jail, and I bonded out a few minutes. And, this is life, but I think that we all know that this could have been handled in a much different way.
Let me ask you this, Doc. You say, because I've done a lot of loans before on projects, but did you have a certain amount of dollars? Is it a house we're talking about that you were built?
Yes.
So you have a certain amount on your loan, and you had contractors working for you. Did you reach the peak of the loan, and then the bank said, well, you've reached the amount that we agreed on, and they shut it off at that point?
Yeah, so the bank said, that will give me a certain amount based on the appraisal. And then midway through the process, they came back and do another appraisal, and the value went up. So the agreement was that they were going to give me the extra money to finish the project. And so the bank stopped giving construction loans like in the middle of the loan. So there was a lot of money that was promised that never came true. So I had to foot all of that on my own. And so I kind of explained this, and we made arrangements to start making the payments. And apparently this court hearing was way back in February. And 7 months had passed without, any resolution. And I was never contacted about that particular date.
Yeah, now I'm told that by some of the contractors, they have not been paid since 2023. Is this correct?
Well, I think we started somewhere around, 23. We finished in like 24. Yeah.
But they're telling me they have not been paid since 23, and that you were overextending on the house, which sort of cost them not to be paid. And maybe you were spending extra monies on the house.
No, basically, they were paid, but we still owe them some money. We haven't paid. It's just about two guys that we still owe a little money on. But it's not like making it sound like nobody was paid ever.
Now, I had 4 of them tell me today they were not paid, and it was close. It was between $300,000 and $400,000. What is your amount?
No.
What is your amount?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what the amount is, but everybody that was involved, was paid. I mean, like one guy we only owe like $25,000, something like that. But they were all, most of them, were paid, if not halved, a portion of what they were owed. So.
Okay, yeah. And of course, just like I offered you to come on, I do offer the contractors. I want everybody. I want to be fair with everybody. But, what arrangements were made? How many court dates did you miss? Was it 1, 2, 3? How many was it?
Well, this one was like back in February. And I probably did miss, 1 or 2 because the dates were, they give you a date like a year in advance. And it's kind of hard to remember some of these dates. And they really don't, refresh your memory with the dates. But with the attorney, that I spoke with on the other side, we correspond pretty frequently. And so if there's a date coming up for something, he obviously, I would assume he should have the courtesy to just mention it to me, because some of these dates, my wife had signed for, and I don't remember, we got so much stuff going on, and I don't remember all the dates.
Yeah, in fairness, they told me it was several dates that were missed, and I think that's when the attorney went to the judge and said, all right, we've been trying to get this resolved.
We had dates as recently as last month. We had a date that we sat down and we talked about the case. So it's not like I haven't been corresponding with him. I corresponded with him every month. So if this was a situation that needed to be addressed, I spoke with him. We texted last Friday.
So let's say 2 years have gone by since the contractors whom I spoke with were paid. What was the negotiation about? When were you going to get them the money that they were looking for that would have stopped you being in custody today?
We were in the process of paying, and we were, liquidating some assets to take care of, any outstanding bills.
You're the coroner. You're a very important person in Terrebonne Parish. Coroner is a very powerful position. Contractors, on the other hand, do such a great job in the community, keeping people going. They work very hard. Judges work hard trying to keep their schedules going. And I'm sure the city marshal did not take pleasure in putting you in handcuffs today. So we have a plethora of things that converged into an unfortunate story. What can be done from this point on to try to resolve this issue?
Currently working on it, and I spoke to, the attorney texted me on Friday, and yeah, we're making, I think, pretty good plans to have this matter put to rest forever.
Okay. Dr. Walker, I thank you for coming on and telling your side. We want to hear your side. We appreciate it, and good luck, and have a best day as you can after you had a rough day. But
Yeah.
thank you for coming on and sharing your story.
And thanks for having me here too.
All right.
Pleasure.
We'll take a break, and we'll be back with more. Of course, like I said, we do invite the contractors on. We try, when we do a story, we invite all sides to come on and tell their side. We appreciate Dr. Walker coming on, and we'll see you more as the story develops. This segment was brought to you by Buick, exceptional by design.